the channel. Some people spend their entire lives searching for proof that God exists. Others spend their lives trying to prove he doesn't. But what happens when someone dares the heavens to answer, and decades later, the impossible finally does? Today's story isn't just about faith or disbelief. It's about a challenge that echoed through the years, and the terrifying price that may have come with it. Dim the lights, and decide for yourself whether what happened was a tragic coincidence or something far more unsettling. This is 9 Lives of Fear.
The lecture hall smelled like old paper and chalk dust. I was a graduate assistant that day, sitting at the edge of the stage to record the final lecture of Professor James Winter's career. Winter wasn't just a philosophy professor. He was the kind of man who could talk a legislative chamber into changing its mind, and he knew it. He had a long, lean frame, eyes like flint, and a voice that filled the room without trying. That afternoon he was in rare form. He paced the stage, small against the high wooden ceiling of the auditorium, beams arched overhead like the ribs of something long dead.
"Religion,"
he said,
"is a crutch for people too frightened to face the dark on their own. A bedtime story for adults. I have looked for this creator in every equation, every line of reasoning I know, and I have found nothing. Silence. That's all there is."
Students shifted in their seats. A few stared at the floor. Winter gripped the podium until his knuckles went pale.
"If there's a God up there,"
he shouted, pointing at the ceiling,
"strike me down right now. Drop this roof on my head. Prove it."
He stood there, waiting, the room gone very quiet. Somewhere in the rafters a sparrow chirped. Someone in the back laughed, nervously. Winter smiled.
"Nothing. Of course."
He walked off the stage like a man who just won an argument with the universe. Years passed. Winter left the university and moved into a large house on a bluff above the ocean, away from the noise of the city. I followed his life the way you follow anyone you used to work for, secondhand, through articles, the occasional mention. His influence faded. He became a name people brought up less and less, then a man people forgot was still alive. I was working as a reporter when I got the call. Winter was dead. The circumstances didn't make sense to the police, and that was reason enough for my editor to send me out. I drove to the house under a sky gone purple with evening, wind coming hard off the water. There was tape across the front door. The lead investigator met me on the porch.
"Did you know him?"
"I used to work for him." He let me in and walked me to the study, a round room, the centerpiece of the house, capped with a heavy stone dome. Winter had built it himself, modeled, he used to say, on the dome of a cathedral he'd once admired for its architecture and nothing else. Now it was on the floor. It had fallen straight down into the room. No storm that night. No warning cracks. The engineers had cleared the place only weeks before. It had simply let go, crushing the desk where Winter did his writing. I walked closer. His body was under a slab of stone, one arm out from beneath it. His face wasn't the face I remembered from the lecture hall. There was no smugness left in it. Just the look of a man who'd seen something coming and understood, too late, what it was. I stood in that room a long time. I don't know how else to describe what I felt except that the silence had weight to it, like it was pressing on the room the same way the dome had. He dared the sky to answer him once, in front of 200 students, and gotten nothing. Now alone it had. Maybe it was nothing. A bad foundation, a structural flaw no one caught in time. I've turned it over more times than I can count, and I still don't know what I believe. All I know is what I saw: an empty room, a collapsed roof, and a man who got the proof he'd asked for 20 years too late to do anything with it. I left as the sun went down, the lawn striped with long shadows, and I thought about that sparrow in the rafters, and how it had been the only thing in that auditorium that answered him at all.
Was it nothing more than a tragic structural failure, or did the universe simply answer on its own time? Sometimes the scariest stories aren't about monsters hiding in the dark. They're about the questions we're too confident to ask, and the answers we may not survive hearing. If this story made you wonder what really happened inside that silent room, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you believe it was coincidence, or something beyond explanation? And remember, not every unanswered challenge stays unanswered forever.
You've survived another tale from 9 lives of fear, but don't get comfortable. If the shadows whispered to you tonight, hit like before they whisper again. Share this video with someone who thinks they're brave. Let's see how long their courage lasts. And subscribe, because around here, every click feeds the darkness. And the darkness remembers, where the shadows linger long after the story ends. Stay scared.